Roberto Guerra has been cooking pigs in a box for how long?
23 years, actually.
23 years. And this box is called La Caja China. And originally the idea came from Chinatown in Havana?
In Havana, Cuba.
We're going to marinate an entire pig. This pig is about, what, 45 pounds?
45 pounds dressed, yes.
Dressed, okay. Dressed means undressed.
Right, clean.
Clean. And for the faint of heart, don't look too close, but this is a pig lying on its back, all clean, ready to cook. Roberto, this is a very unusual way to cook because you're not really cooking it on top of coals. You're cooking it in a box with coals on top, so it's like an oven.
Right, it's an oven.
Yeah.
And it gives that helps us giving us indirect heat. First, we're going to start with our mojo. The key ingredient to mojo is a sour orange.
Okay.
But if sour orange is not available, you can easily create sour orange by mixing orange juice and lime or lemon juice.
Oh, okay.
Right now, we're going to add salt.
To the garlic.
To the garlic.
So how many cloves of garlic? It looks like a lot.
That's 3 heads of garlic.
And some pepper too?
And some pepper, light pepper. Then we're going to add the liquids.
So 1.5 cups of sour orange juice.
Correct. And here we have
pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice.
So let's move that right here so we can add all the other ingredients.
Right.
So a teaspoon of ground cumin.
Right.
A teaspoon of ground bay leaves.
Bay leaves.
That's good. And 2 teaspoons of dried oregano.
Oregano.
Okay.
Now we just want to mix it.
We have one that's already mixed up for us.
First, we need to strain it. Okay. And the good thing is all those solids, we're just going to add them to the rib cage.
Oh,
so
I see.
we're going to get all the flavors, you know, from the garlic and all the spices, and that we're going to inject them on the hams and the shoulders.
So how many hams does a pig have?
2.
Right. And people don't realize that really the hams come from the back legs of the pig, right? So now can I just spread this on here?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to spread that.
Right.
These are big hypodermics.
Yes.
Look at this. Wow.
It really brings flavor into that meat. We're going to do like 3 shots on the shoulders, about 4 or 5 on the ham.
Oh, okay. I'll do the hams.
Okay.
Good to go under the skin, isn't it?
Because we need to keep that skin intact. That's what's going to contain all the juices and the fat.
And so this...
We'll just spread that.
Okay.
Well, now we're going to prepare the adobo.
Oh, okay.
This is like a dry rub, but we just add a light layer of it all over the pig. Here we're going to start with 1/2 teaspoon of pepper.
So garlic powder.
Right.
Okay. Dried oregano.
Right.
Dried bay leaves, more cumin, salt.
We just go with a light rub on it,
touch.
and then we rub it.
Making sure it's coated.
Right.
Now remember, this pig has to stay in a refrigerator for at least 24 hours. We have a wonderful cooler here that has a bag of ice, and so it's going to be a refrigerator.
Right.
Okay, so now he's going to stay in here. Oh, I didn't mention that this is a special pig.
That's right.
Oh yeah, now then it's a Hungarian pig, a Mongolica, known for its sweet lard. We have one that's already been marinated.
Correct. Overnight.
Overnight. And look at this. The pig is put out of the ice onto this rack, and these hooks are...
To attach both of the racks.
So we're really securing the pig so it's not going to move.
The reason we have 2 is so that we can easily flip the pig over.
So the box is lined with aluminum. The tray is galvanized, it looks like to me.
Right, because galvanized? This is a dripping tray, right.
Okay, the dripping tray. And there he goes.
This size pig is going to take about 4 hours to cook. You start with about 16 pounds of charcoal, and then once it's lit and you spread it, you add 8 pounds of charcoal every hour.
And now to put the top on and the coals.
Spread it out evenly.
Well, this is fun.
Yep.
This is very different.
Once the rest of the charcoal is lit, that's when you start counting your time.
Well, we're going to now wait for 1 hour.
1 hour.
Add another 8 pounds of charcoal, then another hour, another 8 pounds.
Right.
And then when do we turn the pig?
When we reach 185.
So Roberto, 4 hours it's been cooking.
Right.
Okay, so we're lifting the whole thing off. Look at the pig. Wow, is that beautiful. Now, have you tested the temperature yet? Oh, you have?
It's already 187.
Exactly, okay.
Now we're flipping the pig, lift it up here.
Okay. Oh boy, look at this.
Look at that.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to score the skin. I'm just going to make some cuts here. Okay.
X marks the spot.
Yep.
Oh, and the meat looks delicious.
Oh, yes.
It's ready to eat, right?
Oh, yes.
So succulent.
We need to remove the ashes so that you really get all that intense heat to blister the skin.
Is it hot?
Now, we're just going to let it sit for 30 minutes.
Roberto, is it time?
Yes, it's time to open.
Okay. To reveal, first the coals come off. Now just wait.
On the top.
Okay.
Right.
Oh my gosh, look at that, everybody. A beautiful, crispy, suckling pig. Okay, so now this goes into this tray. And now it's time to carve and
ready
serve.
To carve and serve.
I've been waiting for 5 hours for this.
Yes. We call this chicharrón.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
So good.
One of the ways we serve the sandwiches, we like to add part of the crispy skin into the sandwich. So when people are biting, they feel that crispy skin together with the meat.
Definitely.
It's just awesome.
Come on in, everybody, and have some. Just take a plate, a napkin, and a Portuguese roll, and take a little piece of that skin. You must have a little crispy skin. Yes. So good. There you are. How's that?
Thank you. That's perfect.
Do you get this at Boston College?
Not in the dining hall.
I'll just keep eating the skin.
To me, that's the best part, honestly. Okay.
This is the best. Weighing in at around 2.5 pounds and several inches thick. A cowboy steak like this, well, it will certainly make a statement when brought to the table. Cut from the bone-in ribeye with a single bone left attached. It's thick and perfectly marbled, and because it's a relatively expensive cut of meat, you'll want to make sure you cook it perfectly. Let me show you how. So make sure, first off, that once you've trimmed any excess fat from this beautiful piece of meat, you dry it with a paper towel, rub it all over with just a little bit of safflower oil. Just a tiny drizzle here and there, but coating the meat. And have your griddle pan really hot. Now a sprinkling of coarse salt, rubbed in with some freshly ground black pepper on both sides of the meat, and rub a little bit around the outside too. And if you don't want this pretty bone to burn, just wrap it in a piece of aluminum foil. This will keep from burning. So, ready to start cooking. Place it one side down in your hot griddle pan. The bone like this is called Frenched because you've taken all the meat off the bone and left it exposed. One of the most common mistakes home cooks make is undersalting meat like this. You're only seasoning the surface of the steak, which means there's a significant portion of the meat that has no salt on it at all the interior meat. You want to make sure there's enough salt on the surface to perfectly season each bite. And safflower oil that I rubbed on the meat is a good oil to use because it has this high smoke point. It's flavorless, colorless, and it's expressed from the seed of the safflower. Now, I'm not going to move this for 2.5 minutes, so while it's cooking, I want to tell you that rib cuts are known for being fine-grained with generous marbling throughout, and it is one of the most tender beef cuts. And it's a favorite for grilling as the bone-in keeps the meat extra moist and flavorful. This deep marbling gives the steak a slightly higher fat content than other cuts, making it extremely juicy. So now we're going to turn the meat at 2.5 minutes so that we get a really nice crisscross marking on it. And now another 2.5 minutes. A grill pan like this is a practical and convenient indoor alternative to a gas or charcoal grill. Although you won't get that same charring and you won't get that flavoring from the wood or charcoal fire. But those ridges are really good because they allow the fat to drip off the meat. And your oven must be preheated to 425 degrees because this meat's going to go in for 12 to 15 minutes after it is browned like this. How does it look? Really professional. I love that crisscross. If you were cooking this outdoors, use the direct heat to do the first 10 minutes. That's the direct heat. And then move it to indirect heat to finish the cooking. Just like putting it into the oven. So 2.5 minutes, we turn again. So there we are ready, the second 2.5 minutes on this side. Now transfer the meat to a rack In a shallow pan like this, another secret of good steak making is there's always air around the meat. Now this goes right into your 425-degree preheated oven, 12 to 14 minutes. It has to reach 125 degrees in the middle of the interior for medium rare. So now I've had the steak tented for 10 minutes. It's rested and it is ready to eat. Remove the foil around the Frenched bone, and you can move the steak now to a cutting board. This steak has to rest for 10 minutes, just so that all the juices redistribute throughout the meat. If you cut it right away, a lot of those juices will just pour right out. So I think shoestring fries, a sharp knife and fork. If you have a big cowboy in your house, this will do for his dinner, but I think it would serve too very nicely. And this may be the best steak you'll ever eat. Enjoy. Sauce Bearnaise is a derivative of its more popular cousin Hollandaise. This classic French sauce is made from a reduction of vinegar and wine, thickened with egg yolks and butter. Its silky, creamy consistency is, well, sort of like heaven served alongside a grilled steak. And it's easy to make. Before I start making sauce Bearnaise, I just want to make a reduction of white wine, champagne vinegar, half a cup of each, 2 teaspoons of cracked black peppercorns, 1/4 cup of shallots, very finely minced, and 1½ teaspoons of tarragon leaves, finely chopped. Let this come to a boil and reduce to 2 tablespoons. This has to cool before you make the sauce, so it's better to get this done right away. Bearnaise sauce is essentially an emulsified butter sauce. Emulsified just means a suspension of one liquid in another with which it can't mix. So you kind of force it to join together. Adding the butter slowly will prevent the sauce from breaking or separating. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself. 3 egg yolks, 1 to 2 tablespoons of hot water. I'll start with 1. Mix this over simmering water. This is a bain-marie. And I'm using a glass bowl, heat-proof. Very good. You can also use a stainless steel bowl. And that water just lightens the egg yolk and makes it a little bit more able to assimilate all that butter. And it's 2 sticks of butter, ½ pound. Some salt, a little bit of pepper. And when these warm over the simmering water, I'm raising the heat a little bit, you start incorporating the butter. Bearnaise sauce and Hollandaise sauce can sometimes be confused for one another, and although very, very similar, Bearnaise has the inclusion of that white wine and vinegar with tarragon. So now our butter can go in here. It starts to melt, and you don't want it to melt like melt hot. You just want it to emulsify. So our liquid is almost reduced to 2 tablespoons. Watch that. It goes really fast when it gets down to a couple tablespoons, so be careful not to burn it. The one thing you don't want to do, and keep adjusting the heat so that it's only a slight simmer, is to cook those egg yolks. Do not want to cook them. They will scramble. And here the butter is going in very nicely. Now you can see that the liquid has reduced, and now I'm going to just let it cool in the pan. We're going to strain that right into the Bearnaise. Bearnaise is most classically served over steak, as we're serving it today, but you could also serve it over grilled fish or vegetables. It's one of my favorite sauces. I really love Bearnaise. So there, look at that. That's a good looking sauce. It's a nice consistency. And I can now stir in 1½ teaspoons of chopped chervil and 1 tablespoon of chopped tarragon. Don't let this separate. If it gets too hot, it will definitely separate. And I think I can just take this off, put it on our counter. Now, doesn't that look great? Now add your little bit of intense flavor. Just put this right in a sieve. Now, if you were barbecuing and wanted to have a Bearnaise sauce, you could probably serve those barbecued steaks with all these solids in the Bearnaise sauce, but I really like to strain them out. And here we have a really beautiful Bearnaise sauce. Now here's a grilled steak. Serve this alongside it, around it. I think you'll find that it greatly enhances your next beautiful piece of grilled meat. Steak served with Bearnaise sauce. I think it's the perfect combination. Today I'd really like to take you through each and every one of the essential tools for grilling. And Christopher has one of the most important in his hand. How's it working?
The tongs.
Okay.
Not bad. They get a little hot sometimes though.
Yeah, well that's why long is better than short. And I always suggest that people get long tongs. And you should have one for meat, one for fish, and one for vegetables.
So the flavors don't
Yeah, you
mix
just don't want to get the
yeah.
blackened steak juices on a beautiful piece of salmon like we have right there. A good spatula, long handled again, and it's very nice to have a wood handle that doesn't conduct heat.
It's really wide.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
Now, can you flip the fish with this?
Well, you could, but there's a better one than that.
Oh,
see? This is nice
it's
for
wide.
a whole fish.
It lets the juices drip through, right?
Well, it's for that, but it's also makes it lighter. And you don't need a big, heavy piece of metal to turn over a delicate piece of fish. This is also a very nice spatula. This is good for letting the juices go through like a hamburger.
Right.
Okay? And even a piece of sausage. But these are good because they are sturdy, they don't bend, they will not give if you pick up something heavy. So these are all 3 very nice spatulas, and you can decide if you are not going to get all 3, which one's best for your needs. A long brush like this too for brushing a little bit of melted butter.
Oh, and it's curved so that you don't burn your hand when you're going over
see?
it.
And it keeps your hand far above the flame. Oh, and what Christopher's doing here is kind of stir frying over, but really stir grilling.
It's in this great basket.
Yeah, I love this basket. It's enameled, it's very clean, and with no fat, you are grilling those peppers and onions very beautifully. And we're gonna have those on big chunks of French bread with our sausage. So get those looking really good.
Okay.
Another tool that's nice is the mop brush. This is very fun to use, and this is for marinating, just rubbing on some wonderful sauce on your meat, on your fish, on your vegetables.
Now we've got some sauce over here. Do you want me to put some on?
Well, I would put, what is that over there?
You got some thick sauce and some thin sauce.
Okay, but I think that's better for our hamburger patties.
Ah.
So let's put a hamburger on here.
Okay.
And I'll use the smaller of the spatulas. We'll just put that right here.
Great.
And that you can mop with a little bit of that delicious barbecue sauce.
Okay.
In fact, I think you should use this brush because it's only one.
Good idea.
Another essential tool is the fork, the long-handled fork. Now, a lot of people say never use a fork for grilling, but if you do, pick up a piece of meat from just the tip, without piercing, without letting any of that juice. Doesn't that look good?
That looks excellent.
That is a ribeye steak. I think has your name on it. It looks really good. Now notice I'm just cooking the fish from the bottom up. And that will keep the fish very rare, just beautifully tender, and I'm not disturbing it. You're getting the flavor of the fire, but you're not burning the fish.
And you want it on the foil so that it doesn't have the black lines.
Well, no, it'll fall through the grate if it falls apart.
Because fish is so delicate.
Yep, that's a very delicate fish. Another nice thing to use for brushing meat are herb brushes like this, which you can construct out of a bunch of fresh thyme, a bunch of rosemary. If you were doing a big butterflied leg of lamb, this is something that you would really want to have, Chris. And this, if this burns on the grill or on the food, guess what? You're getting the flavor of rosemary and not the flavor
I can smell it already.
of a burnt cotton brush.
Yeah.
So this is a very nice thing to have when you're doing serious barbecuing. And then when you're finished grilling, you want to have the correct tools to clean the grill. This is a metal brush. It's sort of like a brass brush.
It's pretty abrasive.
Yeah, pretty abrasive. You don't want to use that on your body. And there's also a nice sharp scraper here that will clean the middle, and then you brush the middle of all the cooking residue. This too is nice for getting between the grate. See, this just cleans it up in no time. And I always like to clean it right after I cook.
So when it's hot, it's easier to get the stuff off.
Warm, yeah, at least warm. And that will be nice. And then you can rinse these out and keep them nice and clean.
I think we should flip this.
You want to flip the burger?
Certainly.
Here's your
Thanks.
special. And always go with the lines of the grill.
With the lines?
Yep. Oh, there, look how good it looks.
Yeah, it looks excellent.
Looking
now
good.
I should brush this other side. See how this goes.
So these are the essential tools, Chris. It's nice too if you have a table to have little hooks underneath so that these can be hung from their
Oh, that's a great
tongs.
idea.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
And you can just grab what you need. That's when you really get set up as a barbecuer, as I think maybe you will.
That's when you get known around the neighborhood.
Oh, okay. Oh, I forgot one thing. Metal skewers, look.
Oh, wow.
These are very, very good because they conduct heat, so they cook inside as well as the meat and vegetables cooking on the outside. So if you accumulate, a dozen of these or so, great for shish kebabs. If you don't have metal skewers, you can always buy bamboo skewers, but make sure before you use them that you have soaked them in water. It prolongs their life. Yep. I think that steak looks perfectly done, don't you?
It looks excellent. Let's find a platter for it.
Okay.
There we go.
And the fish too, I think it is getting to be close to done. And here's our beautifully grilled vegetables. Not too soft. Still have a little crispiness, but they are cooked. These will be very nice on our sausages. We can get those off.
There we go.
So get out that grill, Chris. I'm coming over tonight. There's some leftover meat, and you can practice for all of us, okay?
Great.
Actually, I'm going to invite the whole studio over for dinner.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Okay, I better get working.
What I'm going to show is a very simple, basic process, and it's called putting grill marks on chicken. And everyone always says to me,
how do you do that?
But why it looks so pretty, and it's so easy, and it really makes the presentation that much nicer. You just lightly oil your chicken breast, salt and pepper a little bit.
So boneless, skinless.
Boneless, skinless, and presentation side is the smooth side. You put that facing down on the grill, and you let it sit for probably about, a minute or two to get some nice deep grill marks. Here we have two that are here, and basically what you do is you put them on the diagonal, 10 o'clock, and then when you rotate them, you do it to 2 o'clock. It's a 45-degree angle turn. You would flip it over, and you got it's a little light still, but you've got the beautiful cross marks.
Oh, beautiful. And that takes how long to cook the chicken breast?
Well, what I like to do is I like to mark them on the grill, and then you can put them on a baking sheet once they look pretty, finish them in a 400-degree oven for like 10 to 12 minutes until they're completely done on the inside.
I have here some bacon.
Okay.
That what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in cold water, and I'm going to not boil it really, but cook it for about 5 minutes.
So just sort of blanch it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. No, but we don't want a very big bubble in there boiling.
I don't know. We're having a trouble with this one burner. I'm going to do it over here. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've done it already?
Yeah, we have some ready here,
Okay.
and I just put them
So
on.
for how long?
5 minutes.
Okay.
5 minutes, and we get a bit the fat out.
Yeah.
So we just put them there. And then we have here 2 tournedos, which are very elegant, I think.
Well, they are. I chose this recipe because I thought we haven't done that cut of meat for a while.
For a while.
Yeah, and I thought how nice to learn how to do it on top of the stove.
So should we do one each?
Sure.
Okay, so we get the sage. I love sage. And we just put it on the bacon like that.
Okay.
We can put 4 or 6 leaves. And we did a little bit of it out. Like that.
Okay, that looks beautiful.
And then we just place our tournedo here. And we wrap it up.
How easy.
It is easy.
Yeah. And it looks, you know, it looks fancy, and it looks like you spent a lot of time doing this.
But
And a couple seconds, so don't fret, anybody.
and we just tie it up.
Okay, just once around, or
Twice,
Okay.
twice. And you don't have to really make a lot of pressure when you tie it up.
It's only to hold the bacon on.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Now, do you tie a knot or a bow? A bow.
That's right, just a bow
Okay.
there, and we put it on the pan on the sides like that.
Okay.
So what we do with these is that we just make them really crisp and nice.
Okay, all over.
Yeah, all
Okay.
around them. We just turn them, and then we're going to cook them on the first side for about 6 minutes, and then a little bit on the second side, not too
Okay.
much. So
And
that's
this is
what
on
we're
the
doing.
second side now?
No, this is on the
Oh,
first side
okay.
now. So we just turn it.
Now, isn't that a beautiful presentation for a dinner party? I think this is really, really a nice way to cook. No oven,
Yeah, no
Yeah.
oven. No oven.
and all right on top of the stove. Well, this is a good recipe because this is a special flank steak taco with ancho adobo sauce and corn tortillas. Yeah. So this is what I want on Super Bowl Sunday.
This is
I'm making this.
This is very easy to make. It just takes a little bit of planning, not that much, but it actually combines the flavors of Mexico really well.
Yeah.
And if you like some more spice, it works really well.
So here's our ancho adobo.
These are the ancho chilies, which we've toasted in the oven till they get nice. And if you press them, you see they get a little
Yeah.
hard.
Oh, they're
and
crispy.
crispy. So what you want to do is you want to take off the seeds because the seeds make it bitter.
Okay.
So once we have that, once it's toasted in the oven, we're going to put it in our bowl and kind of crush it up. And I'm going to
Okay.
put some hot boiling water onto it
No seeds allowed.
to rehydrate it. And it just has this smoky
So you
sweetness.
dehydrate and then you
Yeah,
rehydrate.
it's always dried.
Okay.
But you know, when you toast them, it mellows out the flavor and makes it a little easier
Okay.
to.
Just water.
Just water, hot water. And you let it sit for about 15 or 20 minutes
Okay.
until it gets to this.
Good. Okay. So that you blend.
So this, what we're going to do is we're going to blend it. We're going to put it in the blender. We have garlic
Okay, with the liquid, right?
with the liquid.
Yeah, that's the flavor.
That's the flavor. You're going to put some garlic in there. And we have some oregano, which we're also going to put in. And some cider vinegar.
I love cider vinegar.
And I like to put a little bit of salt and a little bit of oil.
So you were cooking lots of Indian food, lots of at Tabla, and now what are you cooking?
At Tablo is doing a lot of Indian food and Indian-inspired food, but at Northern Grill, I'm doing what we call a new American bar and grill, and I'm taking classics from the bar and grill and make them better. So we have some steaks, but we're focusing on seafood. So actually, this dish I'm doing on my bar menu.
Done?
And you're gonna go all the way till it's nice and smooth.
Okay.
And once it's smooth, you're gonna take it and you're gonna apply it onto the steaks.
Oh, so this is the marinade.
Yeah.
Ah.
And what I like to do is I like to do this 4 to 6 hours. I like to keep it, and we're gonna flip it halfway through. You're gonna rub it over, and you can smell it. It smells absolutely
so delicious.
Fabulous with this lovely vinegar in there and the garlicky flavor and the oregano. And what I like to do is I like to keep it overnight.
Okay.
And
We'll finish these a little
Yeah.
later.
and
Now, overnight. Now, is 2 nights too much?
I think 2 nights is too much
Too
because
much,
you have
yeah.
the vinegar in there.
Yeah.
But as you see, it looks really, really delicious and nice and coated. And what I do is, if I'm cooking it in the house, which happens very rarely, even in the winter in the Northeast, I have a grill in the backyard. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but
No,
I like my
if you're
grill.
a griller, you're going to grill
And-
winter,
and-
spring, summer, fall, right?
And I like to grill it for about 4 to 6 minutes on each side, depending on how rare you want it. If you want it well done, you want to go longer.
We have some
And-
grilled already.
And then you see it's beautiful. I also like to split the flank steak down, and you always want to cut it against the grain. And
That is so good. I mean, just that for a dinner is so nice. Even without the tacos, but with the tacos, oh my gosh.
then in a tortilla,
So, yeah. A little red onion.
I like onions in mine. I like cilantro in mine. And if you want the same, you could do that. You could leave it out, and lime.
So-
and sometimes I also add avocado to it.
Yeah, and if you're going to make guacamole, this is a good place to put some guacamole, right?
Yes, definitely.
And
or
some
even
sour cream. And I'm ruining your recipe.
No. You know what I say is if you're going to eat it, you do what you want to do.
Oh,
with it.
yes.
You know, I will eat it the way I want. And when you eat, it's always about you. It's not about the chef. So you want to enjoy it. You want to have
So
fun.
if I ask for Parmesan cheese for my clams
I would give it to you.
on linguine, you'll give it to me?
I would give it to you because you're eating it.
Do you know how many chefs will not give you Parmesan cheese on your clams and linguine?
You know, I think those days of it
Are they
being
gone?
all about the chef is gone because when you're eating, it's about you. It's not about me. And my pleasure comes from you eating and you having a good time.
I like your attitude. Very much. Known as kalbi, Korean short ribs are one of that country's most celebrated dishes. The flavorful soy sauce-based marinade keeps the ribs juicy, tender, and very delicious. Traditionally, they're grilled tableside over charcoal or gas and served with steamed rice, bib lettuce, and kimchi, a hot and spicy accompaniment. What's really unique about them is how they're butchered. Soy sauce is the base of the marinade. 6 tablespoons, and I'll tell you more about the butchering of these delicious ribs in a second. Now, 2 tablespoons rice vinegar into the soy sauce. And 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. 2 tablespoons of apple juice. 2 teaspoons of sesame seeds. These are white sesame seeds. 2 teaspoons of garlic, very finely minced. And I don't know very many Korean dishes without a lot of garlic. 2 teaspoons of freshly grated ginger. This is the fresh ginger root. 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar. And 1/4 cup of scallions. And you can see they're cut very much on an angle, the green and white parts. Now just mix this all together. So this is enough marinade for 1.5 pounds of the short ribs. Short ribs come in 2 ways, either cut between the bones, the most common type sold in the supermarkets, or cut into strips across 2 to 4 adjacent rib bones called flanken-style. This is 1 bone, 2, 3, and part of 1 is 4. I think these are very interesting. And the thin strips of flanken short ribs are sold as Korean-style short ribs. That's how they are known. So immerse them, 1.5 pounds, in your lovely, fragrant, spicy marinade. And turn these over. And I like to get them completely coated with this delectable juice. And generally, when you think of short ribs, you think of braising short ribs, but these are cut so thinly that grilling them is just a perfect way to prepare them. So cover these. I like using plastic wrap, and refrigerate 8 hours or overnight is even better. So just lay your marinated ribs right on the griddle pan. Oh, they smell so delicious. That combination of soy sauce and garlic and scallion. And you want to serve these with rice, kimchi, and lettuce cups. Put a little bit of rice in the cup and a little bit of kimchi in the cup. And this is a fantastic, hot and spicy, pungent Korean dish made with fermented vegetables, primarily cabbage. And so a little bit goes a long way of kimchi. These cook so nicely, and they are so tender. And you see how quickly they cook. It's lovely. And so you can just put your cooked ribs on a platter and let guests help themselves. This is a very interesting and unusual way to serve bone-in Korean ribs. So beautiful. Finish them all up and sit down and enjoy. So What a colorful presentation this is. Korean short ribs, a great use of a cut of meat that most would think had to be braised for hours. I certainly hope you've enjoyed today's show, and don't forget to tune into the next episode of Cooking School. You never know what you're going to learn. I've asked each of the chefs to share with you their favorite tool.
Working with live fires are unpredictable, and so my favorite grilling tool is the long tongs.
One of my essential grilling tools is a brass bristle cleaning brush. Stainless steel brush can be too harsh, and it can actually damage your cooking grates.
It's imperative that I have a beer. Beer and grilling, for me, are two things that should not be separated or be done apart.
These loin chops are the porterhouse steaks of the lamb, with the T-bone separating the loin eye muscle from the tenderloin. But as you can see, they are a lot smaller than beef porterhouses, and also more economical than a rack of lamb, and every bit as tender and flavorful. These should be, between 3.5 and 4 ounces each. Salt and pepper each side of each chop very nicely. Have a cast iron skillet heating on your stove, and make sure that it's really hot before you add the chops. These get cooked 4 minutes per side. That's it. So here, just a little bit of oil in the bottom of the pan, and so put your lamb one side down and time this so it's 4 minutes per side. Now the potatoes have been steamed. These are fingerlings, and you then peel and cut into chunks, about 3/4 inch chunks. And we find that the kind of rougher you are with these potatoes, the better they fry. So I'm going to cut these into little chunks, and we're throwing them into the bowl, and you kind of shake the bowl and get them a little bit bruised. Your oil, you use a good safflower oil or a canola oil. Now see what I'm doing? I'm just bruising them a little bit. I'll add the bigger pieces first. So these are a different kind of French fry. Different shape, no skin on the potatoes, and they are already cooked. So just do a few at a time. 4 minutes, and these are golden brown and crispy. Drain them on a paper towel lined baking sheet and sprinkle immediately with a little bit of sea salt. So it's been 4 minutes. We can now turn our chops. By the way, did you notice how well trimmed these are? I really like to eat every little bit of my lamb chop. So by trimming off virtually all the fat, except for a fraction of an inch on the perimeter, you are making a really beautiful lamb chop. I think this little batch must be done. Oh, look at the color of these potatoes, how cute they are. Potatoes are almost done. The lamb is certainly done, 4 minutes per side. And look at the great color and the juiciness of those lamb chops. So mouth-wateringly delicious. Serve this with the potatoes and a little sprig of mint, very pretty. This is Farmer's Market spearmint, also very beautiful. And this is Farmer's Market peppermint. There are many, many different flavors of mint. My favorite's spearmint, but garnished like that. And served with, well, my favorite is supermarket mint jelly, but that's because of the color. Of course, you can make your own mint jelly, and it won't look quite that green. And the potatoes, make a little platter of these, sprinkled with Himalayan salt. You will love this meal. Loin lamb chops, lamb loin chops, whatever you call them, they are tender and they are amazingly flavorful. And served with a lovely glass of Merlot and these beautiful cooked fried potatoes, or fried cooked potatoes. You'll have a delightful meal. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Cooking School.
Okay. This is a Thai chili vinaigrette. It's rice wine vinegar, lime, fish sauce, soy sauce. And basically, I just put everything in here, 4 limes, some sambal, which is a chili paste that's really flavorful. It's got a little brown sugar in it. We mix that all together with some soy.
Now, do you make that ahead of time, or do you make it?
You can make it ahead of time, since it actually gets a little bit better as it sits, because it's got the red chilies in it that give it a little bit of a kick. We've got some cilantro in it. I actually like it better the day later. And that makes this a perfect dish for entertaining, which gets me to really, like, it gets me out of the kitchen, which is so nice. I also like to use chinette for that purpose, which we've got beautiful chinette right here.
Oh yeah, so we have a very beautiful setup, which is a great option for easy entertaining. And I keep these under my sink. Do you know that?
I
To the
didn't
left.
know that.
Oh, in the kitchen?
Really?
Yeah, right under the sink. Because, I mean, people are always dropping by my house, and they want to take the food outside. They want to sit, you know, in the garden, or take it down to the barn. So, and if I have extra too, people come in and eat all the leftovers. And that's what they eat. This beautiful, beautiful, heavy-duty paper plates. I really like these. And they work perfectly in any table setting. So look how, oh, that's so colorful and gorgeous.
I actually really like them because it helps me as a busy mom when I'm entertaining. You know, I always have people dropping by. We had our in-laws over after your wonderful Easter. They came by for an Easter supper, and it really was so nice because I didn't have to worry about staying, you know, being stuck in the kitchen. I could just put the chinette out, do the, you know, not have to worry about doing the dishes, and it was really a helpful addition to my Easter.
Good it is. And they're really strong, especially, and if you have a wet dressing, you don't have to worry about it leaking through.
No, and they're great for heavy items. We garnish this with some mint, some basil, a little bit of peanuts, which is nice.
And
it
some
gives
of those,
that Thai kick.
Those crispy noodles.
Definitely some noodles on your plate. We'll give
Yes.
you a lot. There you go.
Oh, it's fantastic.
A little bit of the dressing on the top.
And you know how concerned I am about recyclability and not wasting natural resources. Well, these are totally recyclable and biodegradable.